No background. There we go. Oh, it's very bright. Hold on. Let's see if I what if that a little? No, let's see. Maybe I have to angle myself. Hold on one second, guys. Maybe I have to get in front of the window or just turn off the light. Nope, there's still light on. Uh, one second, guys. I just want to adjust for low light. Hold on one second. What am I doing?
Oh, scroll down.
Um, oh yeah, with the light in front. It's a very bright day. The sun is shining. Here we go. I hope it's not too distracting. Sorry about that. It looks like I can adjust for low light, but when it's very bright outside, it doesn't necessarily work. Yeah, need the light from the front and not the back. Yeah. All right, here we go. So sorry about that. It's been a morning. And I was like, I just set myself up. So I'm like, well, I'll deal with the light for now. Yeah, no, oh my gosh. We both Brian and I are going through immunotherapy. And so usually it's later in the week, and we had to go this morning. And oh my gosh, we literally, I hadn't been on the subway for a little bit. And yeah. Oh no, actually I did go on the subway last week. But it was a very quick trip. But this was, oh my gosh, it was only supposed to be a 20-minute ride, and we literally were waiting and it was delayed. We get on the train, everything's fine. We get to 2 stops. We go into a tunnel and we're stuck for over 40 minutes in that tunnel. It was terrible. And it was like really hot and stuffy, and there's a lot of people, and everyone's bundled up, you know, because it's really cold out. It's really cold here too. Oof, 24 for you, Susanna. Man. Yeah, here it's in the 20s, right? Now it's 33. But yeah, yesterday was what? 23. Oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah. So it was terrible. I was like, I thought I was gonna pass out. I felt like everything was starting to get blurry because being like restricted in movement. I had multiple layers on. So I have like my t-shirt, then I had this sweater, I had another sweater, and then my jacket and a scarf. And then being trapped in the train. And the doors to between the cars weren't opening, and so people were getting really frustrated because it was like the air was really heavy and hot. And we couldn't open the doors, and yeah, and then I was like looking at Brian and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. And then somebody passed out. Somebody actually passed out, and they were on the floor. Um, and then the train started moving. So, and that was all before immunotherapy. And so then I have to get 4 needles a week. And so had to go through that. And then we just got home. a few minutes ago. So it has been yeah, oh yeah, panicking conditions. Oh yeah, oh absolutely. Um and so it was yeah. I was like, this is too much for a Monday morning. It's like this was not, no. But home and in a wider space, in fresh air, and much more comfortable. But yeah, that was not cool. Um, and what the this other subway trip that I was mentioning was something I did want to mention to all of you. Was I got to go, ooh, let me not mess up my table here. Uh I did go to this really cool exhibit that was only up for limited time at the Morgan Library. I had mentioned it, I believe, like a few months ago. And I really I've been super swamped, and so I literally went right before they closed. So um it was really nice, and I took a lot of footage, so I'll be sharing that. Um but yeah, it was all about um the history of herbals, and so it had a lot of herbal manuscripts. So it had these amazing um manuscripts from like the 1500s, the 1400s. It was absolutely amazing. They even had the here we go here. Let me see if the computer, there we go. Camera will get it. And so these are the plates. So these things are huge. They're like that big. And so what they would do, it was so this, they were showing some that were handwritten, and then some when the printing press started coming into effect and folks started using that. And so it was available for mass printing. So that was something that, that changed everything. And so they would make these plates where first there would be a drawing, and this would actually be done in sections. So there would be one person would do the drawing, then it would be given to craftsmen to essentially, sometimes they would make it out of wood, so they would, or even stone, but it would be some type of material that was then carved to be the drawing essentially, but like a stamp essentially of that drawing. And then that would serve as a mold that would then be turned into like a metal plate. And then what would happen is that this would be basically um, rolled on with ink, and then this would be stamped on the page to keep recreating the drawing over and over and over and over again for a mass audience, instead of somebody, hand drawing the each plant for the entire book. Now, so at first, a lot of these were still painted, so they would be mass produced, and then some of depending some of those publishers would then have they would hire artists to come in and then hand paint the colors onto those drawings. So it's kind of like a big coloring book. And so then they had to make sure that everything was correct. And they actually had a really good example of a mistake that was done, and it was like I think it was one of the books that was from the 1500s. And so the plaque, it was explaining that copyright didn't exist at that time. And what happened was that a lot of these like English herbals, or even a lot of French herbals, there was a German author who thought, oh wow, we don't have like this kind of book in Germany. And so he ended up copying the book, but he changed all the names to the German common names, and he translated it and everything. But the problem is that he didn't know the plants like that. So he kind of asked around, to get some of the names, but he wasn't a botanist by trade. He wasn't an herbalist, he wasn't a botanist. So he didn't realize that he misnamed some of the plants. And so there were some drawings that did not match the plant that he was talking about. It was a different plant. So he had actually drawn the plants, but he like completely mixed them up. So there were some examples of them yeah, being mixed up. And so they had that one on display. But it was really cool, and it was a really nice peek into our history of using plants as medicine, and just seeing kind of a little bit of an evolution. And there was even some manuscripts that there was one that was done in the 15 or 1600s, and then in the 1800s, somebody went and essentially found the plants, pressed them, and then put them into the book, so that when you would go through the pages, there would be some like information, and then you would have the actual plant in there as well. So it was cool to see those pressings too. And yeah, so I took a lot of footage. What I'll do is I'll kind of make like one big video clip essentially. Um, and then I even took video of, they had what's it called? Trying to see if I can. Here we go. Yeah, so they had a video clip of some of the scans that they took of the books. Hold on, let me lower my do do do. Is it increase my brightness or lower my brightness? Increase my brightness? No, lower my brightness. Let's see if you can. There you go. So I took some video and I just kind of pressed through. So see, these are some of the scans, the digital scans that they made of the herbals. And these are absolutely amazing, beautiful, beautiful books. The drawings were absolutely amazing. So it was really nice to see them on display. They had about like a dozen or so. So it wasn't a really big exhibit. It was just one little room. uh, but I was very happy that I was able to make it before they closed the exhibit. Because it was really, really nice to see. I definitely got a kick out of it. And when you walk in, the first one was this giant, giant, giant book that had drawings of tulips on it. So first thing when you walk in. And so I took here we go. So I put my hand for scale. Oh, let me lower the brightness again. Here we go. So I put my hand for scale, but I don't even think this does it justice because it's lying, it's being kind of lying on the table, like on display like that. So they had it like open like that in glass. So we weren't allowed to touch them. But like the actual book itself was like this big. It was very, very cool, and some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful paintings. So yeah, I will make a little compilation. What I did is I um essentially did some close-ups of the different books, and I took some photos too. So these again, they were all behind glass. So I did my best to get some recordings that didn't have like a lot of glare. So I'm hoping I have some. I mean, I took a lot of footage, so I'm hoping that yeah, that'll be something cool to see. And then I felt really bad because this is one of my favorite museums, if not my favorite museum. I mean, I love the Museum of Natural History and the Met definitely, but this one, it has a special place in my heart. I think it's because of the library that it has. It's huge library. Um, but they have these ficus trees, so fig trees inside. So they're growing. They don't get as large, and so they're a ficus benjamina. I mean they're a nice substantial size, but they have them literally inside growing. Um, in like the gallery open space. And they are usually looking really healthy and beautiful. I mean, I've been going there for years and it's always looked really gorgeous. And this one did not look great this year when I went, and I was like, wow, there's something wrong with this ficus. And as I approached it, sure enough, it had this huge fungus on it. Um, this is a beautiful tree, but look how sparse it is. All the leaves basically were coming off. Um, and it had this really large fungus, and the fungus reminded me of a fungus that grows on cherry trees. So I'm very curious if I didn't talk to, oh, there we go. I didn't talk to anybody there. But I'm wondering if, oh, I think I froze. Oh, there I am. But yes, I didn't speak to anyone there, but I hope that they're like treating it or something, because it's such a beautiful tree. I would hate for to see that they would have to cut it down. Um, but yeah, so that's just a little bit. Um, and oh, and lastly, yeah, we spent the weekend, we were building out some terrariums, and so I have them still on, some of them still on my desk here. And so we were setting up all of our new isopods in their new bioactive setups. And so you could see the humidity. This is the water buildup here. So you create a gradient. So essentially one side is wet. So you can see there's some sphagnum here. This was sphagnum that we had. Um, I stopped buying sphagnum several years ago, but we had quite a reserve because I had gotten like this huge block essentially of sphagnum. So I was grateful that I still had some. So I have a wet side and then you have a dry side so that the isopods can go ahead and regulate themselves in terms of moisture. So if they want to dry out, they can go onto one side of the tank, and when they need to get more hydrated, they can go to the other. But these are all bioactive, so there's different types of substrate in here. There's also leaf litter. There are actually seed pods. So these are some seed pods. Just want to make sure there's no isopods in it when I pick it up. Here we go. There's seed pods. There's lichen. Oh, here we go. There's moss. There is bark with lichen. There are some crushed dry leaves. So yeah, there's all of them are set up. Some of them with some decoration. So but yeah, they're all set up that way so that they can start reproducing, and there's also springtails in there as well. So excited to get those going. I also set up these larger ones. Here we go. Now these are cool. I really like these. These are greenhouses that I repurposed for my isopods. And so this is my dairy cow isopod culture. And so maybe you could see them. Yeah. So they're white. They look like little Dalmatians. So they're white with black spots. You can see this big one over here. Yeah, and they're crustaceans. They're not insects. And I have them nice and set up, and there are quite a few in here. It's a lot. So yeah, I set up two like this, one for my dairy cows and one for my powder oranges. And yeah, excited to be setting up more bioactive enclosures. And yeah, and as they produce and develop, then I'm also going to be adding, I'm going to be adding like live plants and things like that. So I'll let you know. So yeah, that's a catch up to what I've been up to. Um, here you go. Adeline, I found one of I found one. I love the looks of this one, but no info available except direct sun and trailing, only 1 to 3 feet long. I finally found two names, string of beads or tears. And I would like to ask you about care and plant soil if it differs from other succulents. Yeah, sure. So let me pull you up. Do 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 do. I can hear Julia from the other room. She's just whistling. Here we go. Okay. Oh, here we go. Adeline, let me see here. Yeah, definitely show me a string of beads or string of tears. Um, if it's string of tears, it might be that oh my gosh. What is
I found them in on a where I was looking. It's a string of a whole bunch of them. Like there were about 7 or 8 of string of.
okay, yes. I mean
And
there
this is
uh-huh.
one that I really liked because it looked like it wasn't one that's gonna have like 4 feet long tendrils, but it looked like so nice and compact and just filled the pot so nice. I thought, oh, I would love to have something like that, but I couldn't find any more information about it.
Okay, yeah. I can definitely help. It sounds like it might be a senecio. Um, but let me pull up here. I'm gonna pull up. Doo, 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 doo. Here we go. So let me pull up Senecio because Senecio is the family. So the string, let me see. String of tears. Let's see. So now if this is, whoops, here we go. So let me know if we come across what you were looking at. Is it something like this?
Well, it didn't. The picture I saw didn't look like that, but that looks a lot like uh another. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Go backwards.
Whoop, let's see. Was it more less? Does it have like a more like this, like
No,
bananas?
no, not at all.
But is it something in so close to this shape?
Uh, no, actually, it looked like it had almost like it had branches, but the branches were all full of some kind of nice. And it didn't even look like this one that was on that you have on the bottom. It just was in an ordinary pot, and it just filled the pot, and it looked like it was probably about about a 10 or 12 inches up,
Uh-huh.
and it completely filled the pot. But it just looked so nice. I don't know how else I could explain it if I saw it. Uh, but the pictures you've shown, I haven't seen anything that looked just like it.
Hmm.
But that's what they called it. They called it the string of beads or the string of. I didn't even find it under the string of beads, but they said there's another name, string of tears.
String of tears. And were they very round?
Yeah,
Or so was it more like this where it was like the
uh,
pearls?
I don't know. I think string the string of pearls might be closer to anything I see, but none of these really look like that particular plant.
Wondering if it's a string of watermelons, maybe. I think that's also a senecio. Um,
Yeah, there were quite a few string of that
because
make
these,
kind of made it look interesting. No, that certainly wasn't it, but
okay.
mm,
Yeah, because I know these will grow kind of upwards
yeah,
um and then down. I'm really thinking, so a lot of these string ofs, a lot of them tend to be Senecio. So they're in this family. So they're essentially either a crawler or like a vining plant that has these little leaves that retain water, um, and that end up looking like little beads in some way, in different shapes. They'll come
yeah.
in different shapes.
Well, it wasn't watermelon. I remember seeing that name, but it wasn't that one. But
Because you
that's
said
just what they called it. But it
here.
just it looked more like an ordinary plant, except that like it just grew up taller. And maybe eventually it would come down a little bit. Like if it was going to be up to 3 feet long, it probably would hang a little bit, but not so much as a lot of the other string of. They really go a long way. Like some of them are, I don't know. Uh, they say it can go 4 feet. It could go. Uh, the average is about 24 inches. That I read, but they can be 4 feet in 6 years. Is one of the ones that I was looking at. But that's the donkey's tail. Do you think that's right? In 6 years, they would grow. It would grow four
Oh, the
feet.
donkey tail, the sedum. Uh-huh. Yeah, the it's the
Yeah.
like the burro's tail. Was it and so they were nice and plump, so they weren't flattened?
No.
Okay. Because I know like this, they call it the string of coins. I have quite a few of them, and then they'll also grow up and then they start to come down and
Yeah,
the,
I would think so. I mean, yeah, they can only go up so high before they have to.
wow. Um,
I don't know. If you can't find them, don't worry about wasting too much time. I don't want to take too much time away from
don't know.
what else you want to say.
I love these types of mysteries. Yeah, because string of tears, like that's a different yeah,
There's
and if
there
it's
was teardrops. Are they uh, a kind of a different plant?
well these, let's see if teardrops, because I just know that the tears are string of tears, also like pearls, bananas, they're all in the Senecio family.
Yeah,
Um And so they all kind of have these shapes where they either are a perfect little ball, or
yeah.
they have like that watermelon kind of oval, and then they have those that are a little bit longer that look like fish hooks or bananas. Um, hmm. So I'm trying to see if something that looks slightly different. I mean, this is fake. I've been seeing this a lot, just so that people are
Oh,
aware. So this one specifically, this is fake. This is a fake plant. Um, as you can see here, and I keep seeing people are posting it as if it's a live plant, and for sale and things like that. And then people are going, "Oh, it's so pretty," and how much? And it's fake. And so this is not a real plant. So if folks are seeing that,
it
uh
certainly wasn't that one
just be aware.
because they said
Real.
it only went from between 1 to 3 feet long.
That's very
And
odd.
when I saw it on the picture, it probably looked like it might be coming close to 1 foot, and it was going up to the top of the pot, I guess. And then I didn't see it any bigger than that. So
And let's see, there's this one that's saying this one's teardrops. It's a senecio. Were the stems green or were they pink?
Oh, they were green.
They were green. Hmm. Because for a second I was like, maybe it's a ruby necklace, but I don't know if ruby necklace comes in oh, plant, not an actual ruby necklace. Here we go. You see, so they also have that kind of look, but hmm.
I just thought if I could get one that would grow in a pot and grow kind of just really fill up the pot so nicely as the picture showed, that would be nice as opposed to having a whole bunch of string of.
Yeah, and what I
Because
find
then you have
really,
to worry about where you're going to put them.
yes, yes. And what but what I'm curious about is why they would say it would only grow, you said 1 to 4 feet?
1 to 3.
1 to 3 feet. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
The
Um,
necklace looks nice, but I'm just wondering how long it gets.
I mean, it will continue to grow as long as you let it. So,
Oh, okay.
and that's what usually happens with a lot of these string of plants is that they will continue to grow. There can be, gosh, I think my hello, Jules. Jules got into the room. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello. He's hopping on my lap right now. Yeah, even my Ceropigia, I have a, a string of arrows. Hello, buddy. Okay. Yeah, and that one is almost like my is 5 feet. I'm 5 feet. And so it'll, they'll keep growing. You let them grow and they're happy, they'll keep growing. Um,
That is really long.
oh yeah. I mean, but you can definitely cut and propagate them so they'll
Yeah.
create little what I like about Ceropigia is they create those little bulbs, like these little bulbits.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and so you can cut it and then you can plant that with the rest of the vine if there is a vine and you can just start a whole new plant. So they're very
Yeah.
easy to propagate. Um but yeah, now I'm very curious. If you end up going there, definitely take a photo. Because if it's not a Senecio, that's so odd. Because yeah, that's usually the go-to. The only other one I can think of is if it might be a Dischidia. Hold on. Let me put him down and lock him out. One second. Come on, buddy. We're gonna go. Let me move over here. Go, go, go. Come on, you too, Maple. Not invited. Oh no, you're not invited. Come on. Causing trouble. Now I can feel all the cat hair. All right. Um, so I'm thinking I'm gonna try one more and see if it might be a Dischidia um million oops million hearts. Let's try that. 'Cause I was trying to think. Hmm, there we go. 'Cause I know I've seen some that are a little bit million
Maybe
heart.
it was named wrong.
I'm sorry?
I'm thinking it was probably named wrong
Oh yeah, that's
because it grew straight up like any other plant. But
hmm.
then I didn't see it older than that, so I don't know if from that point it goes down. But when you see it in the pot, it just looks like like any other normal bedding plant. It goes straight up to a certain height, but then it really filled out the pot. And I thought that would be a nice alternative that would be nice to have.
Oh, absolutely. I really like those types of things, like especially sedums, like it's like the donkey tail one. But they just fill out, they become like a mound on the pot. So like this.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a new donkey's tail that I just got a little while ago, and it's filling up the pot quite nicely. Not like that yet because it's still quite young. But my my worry is if it's so tender and easily to knock some of those little beads off, and I don't have it in a plastic pot, how on earth am I going to get it out of there? It says you should only have to transplant it maybe once every 3 years. Well, by that time, it'll have filled the pot, and I'm going to have to find some way to put like a spatula on, underneath it to try to raise it up.
oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's I've found myself like sometimes with those plants especially, um yeah, you end up having to I've had to even cut nursery pots just because, it's just makes it easier, and especially
Yeah,
for plants that are really sensitive, like
yeah,
Brussels kale is a nightmare to repot. Because you end up it's so sensitive to touch
yeah,
that you just start losing, you're losing all those pieces. And I've literally had to kind of hold it in place when the roots, or I've had to even cut basically the whole plant out of the nursery pot
yeah,
so that I can put it very like and try to do as minimal damage
yeah, yeah.
possible. Um, but yeah, no, they're wonderful. So definitely, if you see it again, let me know. I'm wondering, gosh, was it now I'm like it's in my head now. So I'm wondering if it was like a jelly bean. Um, gosh. But yeah, in the case for, for folks, if you are getting usually the string of type of plants. So as I mentioned, a lot of them can be like Senecio. That tends to be one. You see a lot of Ceropigia tend to be also considered string ofs. Um, and then the string of coins, it's with an X. Seriocysis. Um, Forgetting the scientific name. But that one is actually in the cucumber family, and that one's called the string of coins. But yeah, usually they're mostly Ceropigias and Senecios. It's kind of those two big families. And both of them are pretty similar. Senecios, I feel they want to dry out and then they want you to water them pretty shortly after that. They will start to wrinkle and show kind of signs of distress. You might start to see some of like if you have a string of pearls. Um, I have tried with string of pearls several times. I have one and it's actually been fine and growing and happy. I think it's about to be a year. Um, and I think that's the longest I've managed to keep a string of pearls happy. I'm hoping I'm gonna knock on wood here and not jinx myself. And the only way I've found is I moved it. So I've tried under our grow lights. I've tried in an eastern window. Didn't have any luck. So I finally said, you know what? Let me try in the western window. Um, and it's so happy. And even with the heat comes on because that's the window next to the heater, and it's perfectly happy and it wants to completely be bone dry. And then I start to see it get wrinkled. So I'll give it a really good drench, and then all of a sudden it plumps up, and then I can leave it alone for like another 3 weeks. And that's how I've been keeping it happy. And there's so much new growth, and it's wonderful. But it's like I've had to learn how to time it. With sedum, senecio, and it's in the same family. It's very similar. So most senecios are like that. So it's you kind of have to. It's a little bit more difficult to learn their watering kind of preferences. But in terms of Ceropigia are great. Those are the strings of arrows, strings of spades, strings of hearts. Those are great because they like to be drenched and then drought. So drench and
Yeah.
drought. So
What
they
about the string of dolphins?
String of Dolphins. I believe that is also a Senecio, if I'm not mistaken. That one has been hard.
Oh,
I've tried twice. Um,
oh,
and both times, the second time I was able to keep it happy longer, but it's very difficult because they also have a tendency to get overwatered. So I was trying to find like a happy balance there. I moved it from a southeast window because it seemed like it was burning. So then I put it under the grow light, so it was like behind me where I sit in the living room. And it was okay there for a while, and then it just started doing poorly again, and so a bunch of parts started to shrivel up.
oh,
I could not keep it happy. But yeah, uh they will definitely show through the little shape of like the dolphin, will show when they're thirsty. And if they are too overwatered, it stops kind of looking like a dolphin, and it's too plump, and that's usually
oh,
a
yeah.
sign it's gotten too much water. So you have to kind of keep it in a happy medium. So it's super difficult. So Senecios are very finicky, are very, very finicky, which is why like string of pearls has such a reputation as being like a harder plant to keep happy. Um, so I've so far so good, again, knocking on wood. So far
Yeah.
so good. And yeah, this is like my third try with string of pearls, and so far so good. Um but I much prefer Ceropigias, because Ceropigias, I know that I can water them every 3 to even 4 weeks, give it a really good water, and then I can just leave them be. And they love my western window. They have been putting so much growth out. Like I said, like my longest one is like 5 feet. It's yeah, it's so they'll just keep growing. I just got a new variegated one, but it's really the longest vine is like this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's already starting to put out new growth. But yeah, Ceropigia, definitely would recommend that over Senecio if you had the choice. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Welcome, you're welcome. Ooh, Jamie says, I have a string of buttons. Um, it starts out up, as you said, then cascades down. If it gets too long, can I just trim it back? Or will it double and sprout where I cut it? Like some plants, I hope not. And says, also great if a strand breaks off, I can just pick it, uh, stick it back and it grows. Oh yeah. With string of buttons, is that um gosh, let's see. String of buttons into
It's,
the
I think it's a chrysula.
Oh, a crassula. Okay. So let me try to look that up. Dun, dun. String of buttons. Let's see if I recognize this. Doo, doo, doo. Oh, like the baby necklace. Oh, here we go. Perforata. Um,
Yeah, they're little flat leaves stuck together.
Yeah. Yeah, so with those, they won't double up. So if you do prune them back, they won't sprout like a hydra. So don't worry, like they won't sprout too new. You can definitely cut these back. Usually the string itself, once it's cut, doesn't usually like it might start to kind of put like an offshoot. Um, but these usually once the string itself is cut, from my recollection, it doesn't yeah, from that base where it was like from the base it might put out more growth, definitely, but I don't think that the vine itself would continue growing, um especially if there's like damage when you cut it, but they propagate really readily. Yeah, they're so beautiful. There is one actually, like 3 blocks over, there's a bank, and they have the biggest one I've ever seen in my entire life. It's this giant terracotta pot.
Mm.
It looks like a Medusa head. It's just
Well, thanks, and I can keep it in a controllable size.
oh, absolutely. So you can
Great.
trim it back, so feel free to. It propagates very readily. So you don't have to worry about that. Um, yeah, no, it's a really nice it's very controllable, so don't worry.
It sits on the top of an urn, and so it cascades out a little bit above the other plants. Very pretty.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I like that you're letting it cascade. A lot of folks, yeah, they tend to keep it pretty kind of manicured. But I don't know. Personally, I like to. I like that when we can let just kind of plants grow a little wackier.
Yeah, well, it's great the way it frames the window and the other plants, but I'm glad I can control it because I don't want it to get too long. I only have so much space.
No, of course, of course. Oh, absolutely. You can definitely trim it, and then you can stick those bases. You can remove like the last 2 or 3 leaves. Because it's perforata, so the stem, I believe those leaves are called sessile leaves. It kind of wraps like a whorled leaf. Um, and so what you do is you can just remove the last couple leaves so that you have some stem, and then just plop it right in.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, chryssulas are really great. Jade plants are in the chryssula family. Yeah, I have quite a few chryssulas. They're wonderful. And there's such a great variety. Um, let me see. There's like what was it? The Buddhas. I think it's called Buddhist temple. Um, yeah, these it's such a cool
Oh,
trick,
oh yeah.
right? Super cool. That one I really like. Here they can grow super cool, and when they flower, it's
Oh my
so
goodness.
beautiful.
Do they trail out?
They will kind of, so here's a great example. So one when they're
Oh,
they much more structural, but then they will kind of go crazy once they're longer.
it's
But
like
they
modern art.
slowly. I'm sorry?
It's like modern art, like a little sculpture.
Oh, absolutely. So you could see here, like, once they're starting and they grow very slowly, so you can kind of enjoy it in that state. But then, yes, once it gets longer, it will, go in different directions. If you have a straight overhead light, it tends to grow more like columnar. But if you have it in like a window that, especially with like the changing seasons, it doesn't get like a kind of consistent lighting situation. It's much more likely to kind of grow a little crazy. Um, but here you can see even a big one. This
Oh,
one,
yeah. Well, I
yeah.
think one of the things I've learned from you is if you really like a plant when you see it for sale, you should look up what it might look like in a few years because it might not be what you're expecting.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes. And that's a big mistake a lot of folks have made, right? One, they don't account for the size. A lot of folks, oh man, there's some plants that I've seen so many in on Facebook Marketplace, a lot of euphorbias. I love euphorbias. I've been collecting euphorbias for a few years. I've seen folks that have some euphorbias that they're like 40, 50 years old, and these things don't even like they hit their ceilings. And then they don't know what to do. And yeah, oh my gosh. With euphorbias, with fig trees, I don't like ficus, like the fiddle leaf fig. Uh those get ginormous. Those get so big. Gosh.
Yeah,
Um,
I've got that.
yeah.
It's a feeling. It's about 30 years old.
Wow.
Dragged it in from the garbage.
I'm glad you rescued it.
I rescued it and then I had to cure it. I found out it was in the garbage because it had some type of fungus on it. And I took a leaf in a baggie to a store, and they told me what to spray on it, but they said you have to wash the whole thing off like once a week. And it was already about as tall as me. So the two of us had to drag through the bathroom door into the tub so I could wash this thing every week. I had to shower with my tree. I could never do it now, so it better not get anything now.
But that's love right there.
Well, I think it felt the love and it stayed with me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh man. No, I'm glad that you you found it. You gave it another chance. Um,
Me too.
yeah, it breaks my heart when I see folks tossing out plants. And I know when the plants have, like, oh, they find spider mites. But then it's just so sad to see the plants sitting there. And there's so many, I'm seeing more and more posts, like in different Facebook groups that I'm in for plants, of people moving out and then they abandon their plants. There was
No,
quite a few posts in the last couple weeks, I guess, because a lot of people are moving. Um, and I felt so bad because people were like, oh, yeah, landlord needs, people moved out, and then there's these gorgeous plants, and it's just it breaks my heart. Uh, like, there's so many groups you could just tell people pick them up. I've been doing that. I've been, as we were getting rid of a bunch of stuff, I'm part of a local buy nothing group and a local it's called Astoria Green Giving group. And so I had a bunch of giant terracotta pots, and I was like, I'm not going to use these anytime soon. And you know, down the line, it was like in 2020, I really wanted to do some really cool things with terracotta, so I had bought some really big ones, and I ended up never doing the project. And then now I had these giant terracotta pots that we had in our office, and I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna, I want them to find a good home. And yeah, it's yeah, it makes it so much it makes me feel great that I'm able to then share it, share the stuff. I gave away a bunch of um nursery pots. Gosh, I gave away a humidity gauge. I had gotten an extra one, so I gave that away. I gave away a bunch of terracotta. Um and then a bunch of I had a bunch of the um oh my gosh, what are they called? Like gravel stones. Gosh. So yeah, I so I highly recommend people that definitely oh yes, Marianne, yes, definitely. Marianne, yes, Marianne. Uh yes, definitely. They just check out local groups if you're ever in a bind and you're like, oh gosh, I really need to get rid of a plant or something. There are people that, can be local to you that will come pick it up and you know, and then you know that it'll be loved, whether it's plant related materials or the plant itself. Yeah. Oh, Brenda, when you trim a string of hearts, will it create offshoots at the last cut node or keep growing longer? Um, so it may do an so it won't create it from the like so they'll have those internodal spaces. So when you, let's say here's the I'm gonna try to use my fingers. So here we go. So here's the node. So Ceropigia, they produce 2 leaves at each node. And then here's, you know, the vine. And then there's another 2 leaves and so on and so forth. So from here, if you cut this internodal space, nothing's going to grow from the tip of that one. From this node, especially if it has a like a bulbit, I think they're called bulbits. It's like a little rhizome essentially. So that will root and then it can produce more growth. So then it would produce more growth from there. But the vine, so it'll come from the node. So it'll basically start here and not, I forgot how I was doing my fingers. Oh, but here's your node. Here's that string that can, you know, the vine, the main stem, essentially. So where you cut, this part won't grow. But from that nodal space, if especially if it has a rhizome, or it should put out growth through there. If that makes sense. It's hard to show. But yes, it should grow. And it will continue that way because it will definitely it'll kind of be like a split. Um and yeah, but I would say to wait. You can, they will propagate in water, a string of hearts. If you can find a little bulb, like the little rhizome, I would wait until the plant like gets large enough to produce one of those and then cut it there. um it gives you like a better chance for it to like successfully propagate rather than, because sometimes people do what are called butterfly cuttings. So they'll cut basically like the stems, and so they just have that nodal space with those 2 leaves, and then they stick that into the substrate. They might use kind of like what they call plant staples kind of to hold it down. um and but that can be a hit or miss. So sometimes those nodes won't propagate, and then they end up rotting. It's just, it gives you a little bit of a better chance if you have the little bulb on there. But yeah. Oh, here we go. Can you plant the bulb alone in the soil? I think it does have to be attached. I believe it does have to have like the leaf emerging from it. Because I think if you break it and you just plant the bulb, I don't think it might take too much energy. So I'm not sure. And especially if it doesn't have roots, it might just desiccate. But that's a great question. I think it might need to have the leaves attached. At least like a leaf attached to the bulbit. Yeah. But the bulbit itself, and when you do plant them, it's very shallow. So don't kind of like, you know, put your finger in like the soil and plant it like a tulip bulb or something. You really, it's just kind of like basically like on the soil. So that's why you might need one of those they call them plant staples. What do they, there's another name for them. They basically look like giant long staples. And plant pins, maybe that's another name for them. um and so it really looks like a big staple but really long, and so that's what you kind of push down into the dirt and it holds it in place. But you can kind of just move a little bit of dirt, put it in there, and you know, very shallow. So don't kind of bury them, because if you don't see the top of the bulbit, it can be way too deep and will actually start rotting. So just keep that in mind. Oh, A Aguilar, Yes, definitely.
Okay, can you see me?
Yeah.
I don't know where I am, but I'm showing you a picture.
Oh, here
Can you
we go.
see? Can you
I
see me? Oh,
see you, but I can't see the picture. Oh,
uh, okay. Uh, okay, there.
hold on one second. Because
I,
you're coming in as sideways. Bring the phone, I think, a little higher. Higher. This so higher, higher, higher.
I cannot even see myself. Okay, here.
Oh, wow.
You know, I saw this we were in an Airbnb in North Carolina, and that the house in itself is like forest. I can't, how do I do this?
Think if you, yeah, if you just bring it up a little higher. I could see it for a moment.
Uh, okay,
Whoop, there we
okay,
go. Yep.
okay. This is like, well,
It looks like a crested.
it's like a rock.
Uh-huh.
It's a stone. I mean, when I touch it, it's oh, ouch. Must be this must be artificial. But in the morning when I saw it, it isn't. I said, "Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful." It's like a rosette of oh, I'm sorry. I don't
No,
know how to
I
do
saw
this.
it for a moment. I think it might be some type of crested cactus. Maybe like a crested yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And she has a lot more. I don't know if I could. Ah, sorry.
You're fine.
Anyway, I don't know the name of this plant, and I'm really interested. I was gonna ask the owner if she could, if I can buy a little piece of it and plant it, but I didn't get a chance to speak to her. But I wrote her a note. I mean, inside her house is like a forest. It's beautiful. I mean, it's like a lot of cactuses. And I think she brings them out in the summer because I see a wheel under these pots.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's when she tries to get them all out in the summer. Because North Carolina has a beautiful, weather.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I couldn't believe it myself because I thought it's artificial. It's like a rock, it's a stone, it's so hard. And I see she was growing something smaller underneath. There's another pot that says she was racing it. Oh, I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
It disappeared. Anyway, so I said, well, I'll have to take a picture of this and I'll show it to Jocelyn and see if she can help me identify this beautiful cactus. And
Because from the picture, might be like some type of crested. Yeah, because it looks crested.
it's so beautiful. It's so intricate. Like they're all like growing and they're all mushed together.
Might actually be a euphorbia. Um, yeah, it looks like it might be, it's definitely crested. Um, let me see. Maybe a crested euphorbia. Let's see here.
I mean, it's taller than me and I'm 4'11". No, I'm sorry, I'm 4'9". I decreased my height.
So it kind of, was it something like this, but just
Well,
bigger?
but no, but they're like they're smaller, and then they're like twisted and they didn't have any
Oh, here.
oh, that one, see on the right, what
Is
is
it,
that?
is it, hold on. Oh, load. Like this?
This one, yeah, exactly, but it's huge. It's taller than me and I'm 4'9".
Yes, so that's what because so what you were showing me, it's a crested mutation. And so this can happen for a few reasons. One, it could be just genetic, but also sometimes the plant can get injured and then it starts to grow in this kind of flat, curved type of way, and it will get huge, but it'll keep growing that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's like twisted, like it's twisted, but then they're beautifully twisted, as if you know, like, that what do you call that Japanese thing, paper thing that, you can.
origami. Yeah. Yeah, no,
So I was gonna ask her to maybe chop me a little bit, so if I, but I didn't ask her. I was so embarrassed. But it was so beautiful. And in her house, there's so different kinds of cactus. I mean, it's so beautiful. Inside the house is like a forest of plants.
yeah, I think that's the best way to have your home. We
I
have
I I told her that I have some of her plants in here in my house. Not a whole lot of them, but she has more that I really like. But maybe next time I go California, I mean to Durham again, uh, I'll reserve in her Airbnb and maybe talk to her about it.
yeah, no, definitely. And with these, you yeah, they do propagate via cuttings. So it's something that yeah, that's basically how they're propagated. Because it's very hard. Seeds aren't guaranteed that they'll carry the mutation. So yeah, you gotta end up kind of sharing it around to get more of these. So I think it's definitely like a crested, and just the way that it looked, I'm leaning more towards it's a crested euphorbia. But yeah, they have some really intricate, I mean, absolutely like amazing. Oh, hold on, let me stop the share here so I can
And can you see this one? Oops, what
oh,
happened? Uh,
oh, Monstera.
it is beautiful.
Oh, yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's like Jocelyn's plants.
Oh man, that one's beautiful. I
I
love
know.
pins. Oh my gosh.
It is huge.
It is.
It is huge, but then those the leaves. I was so attracted to the leaves, and I said, "Oh my gosh, look at these leaves! It's like a cut out paperwork."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. And I get so happy when I see folks that can have like, yeah, like we have monsteras, but they're much small, like very small. Like even the ones in our bedroom we have in water. Um so much smaller. It's hard when you when you have an apartment with limited space, but I would love to have like a monstera that I can just let kind of grow crazy and ginormous. Um
Yeah. So I said, I'll have to take a picture of this so I can show it to Jocelyn.
I'm glad that you did. I love Airbnbs that like are like plant lover Airbnbs. It's just
Yeah,
that
I told her that, oh, I love your house. I'll come back here next time I come to Durham.
so I'm so glad that you got to stay there, because then yeah, it even makes the whole experience even better.
Oh,
Um
definitely. I want to make sure that, next time I go, I'll take more picture and maybe I'll find more exotic plants.
yeah, and definitely ask for cuttings, you know. It doesn't hurt to just ask for cuttings and see if you can oh, I think I
Thank
froze.
you.
Nope. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. Our let me see. Whoop, there we go. Um, our humidifier is starting to do bubbling. Oh, where'd I go? There I am. Um, I don't know what's happening. Let me check my. Oh, here we go. What is going on? I'm checking my internet. Am I connected to the office Wi-Fi? No. It says I'm connected to 5G. I don't know why the internet is being weird. Let me see. Let me try to. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know why. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it says I'm connected to the 5G, but for some reason it keeps freezing. I'm not sure why. Um, oh, oh, did somebody ask a question? I think I froze just then, so I didn't I didn't hear. Oh, Marion, let me check. 1 second. Let me try. Bonsai. Oh, wow. Ooh. Thank you, DT. Oh, Suzanne, right? Maybe. Oh, Marion, yes, I'm seeing the bonsai, so folks can see. Was it exposed to any extreme cold recently? Was this kind of recently purchased and kept in the cold? Because this could be cold damage, just based on the look of it. If not, um, this could be some type of mold. I'm gonna go with potentially sooty mold. So sooty mold is a secondary type of fungal infection, which means that usually there's a pest. So it can either be like aphids or spider mites or even mealy bugs. And so, oh, it's a year old. Okay, so then I'm gonna go with probably sooty mold. Um, so basically when there could be some type of pest, and then when pests, what they're doing is they're drinking up, the sugar water, right? The plant sugars. So when they go to the bathroom, it's basically just like, it's called honeydew. So it makes the leaves very it can get them very sticky, and then mold loves this. And so especially different types of molds like sooty mold will then start growing on the leaves, because it's feeding on that sugar that was excreted by the pests. So it definitely looks like city mold. I would suggest to take a damp paper towel and try to rub on the leaf and try to see if anything can be pulled up, like if does it remove the black off of the leaf. That is a telltale sign of sooty mold, because it will literally come off when you're cleaning it with a paper towel. If it doesn't come off, then it still could be some type of mold or mildew. But if the plant has been in the house for a year, there hasn't been any remarkable changes, right? So if it wasn't left like by a window, for instance, that got very cold, or by a heater, then honestly, that this type of damage, it looks like very, very crispy, essentially. It has that look. It really could be some type of mildew or mold, especially with the white as well. So I'm seeing it's like, so let me see for other folks that so that they can see. So you're seeing kind of that black, it's like an ombre effect. So like the tips of the leaves kind of look blackened. Yeah, here we go. With kind of like a white residue on top. So it could be a secondary type of like mold or mildew infection that is because the plant already had a pest. And so it kind of lowers its immune system. It kind of supplies another like a food item, essentially. And it will attract fungus, unfortunately. If it's by a window in the bathroom, was the window left open for an extended amount of time? Because this could also, it has that burned type of look. So it could also be extreme temperatures dropped. And if it was very close to the window, if the window was cracked open, or if it's a window that has doesn't have a tight seal so that the cold could get in, it could be some severe cold damage as well. Because that, and if it's cold damage, that doesn't necessarily mean the plant is done. Those leaves can fall off, and as long as the stems are okay and the roots were not damaged, if let's say it was cold damage, usually the plant can bounce right back with no problem. But just, yeah, just based on the look of it though, I'm really leaning towards mold, like a mold or a mildew, so a fungus of some type. So I would suggest that that your son use a damp paper towel, like wipe some of the leaves and just see if there's a residue. Also, what do the leaves feel like? So are they really crispy? How readily maybe the leaves might start falling off. He can also, if the residue does come off, he can start to feel on the stems as well to see if there's any like softness in the stems, just to make sure that there's no rot that is actively making its way through the stem. So it says probably not, but it has been freezing here. Oh, about the window being open or something? Yeah. Because it can definitely happen if like the cold damage can happen if a plant is really close to the window. This actually happened. So I just got this squam a week ago, and I mistakenly left so it's a very odd shape. And so I was trying to find a good place on my desk for it, and then I ended up putting it on this little ledge I have. It's hard to see here. Here we go. I have this little wooden ledge, and so I put this, you could see how the squam, this is the philodendron squamiferum, so it kind of is a wide plant. And so I had put it this way, and so I didn't realize that top leaf was actually touching the window, and it got burned from the cold because we've been in the 20s. And so you can see, whoops, here we go. Like I lost the whole tip of this leaf because unknowingly it was coming into contact with the window. And I was very sad because I had just gotten this. but I already lost the tip, but that was my fault. Cause see how it has a very odd structure. So I had put it like this and I didn't realize that this was touching the glass. And so since it's been super, super cold here, yeah, I noticed too late that it was singed off essentially. Um it was yeah, the cold can cause that type of damage, especially if you don't realize how close it is to the window. So yeah. Oh, how about watering? He tends to spray it quite a lot. Um, I wouldn't recommend really spraying um bonsai trees like that. Because especially if it's indoors and there isn't a lot, if he doesn't have like a fan that's really circulating the air, if it's very humid, because he would be making it very humid in that area if he's misting it a lot. That could then attract mildew and mold as well because the plant would be rotting. Um, so I would recommend he stop with the misting. If he's worried about humidity, he could get a small humidifier. There are also tiny humidifiers if, let's say, he just has one plant, so he doesn't need to get like a giant humidifier like like that, right? That works on an entire room. He just wants like just for his little plant. There are little ones. Oh, I had it in the sink because I was washing mine out. But Brian also has the same one on his desk. So I love these. So these you plug in. This one's really cool because this one also works as a nightlight. Mine doesn't have that feature. I had bought mine and then Brian wanted one and they sold out of mine. And so I said, "Oh wait, I found another seller, but his actually lights up." So his is cooler because it lights up. It's not plugged in, so I can't show you the light, but this whole thing lights up. And then you just fill it up with water and yeah, and it just shoots out a little bit of humidity right from this little cactus, and it's tiny. And this is great if you have like one plant or you have like a little cluster of like 3 or 4 plants. So you just need just enough humidity to, like a little microclimate, but you're not trying to like humidify an entire room or half of a room or anything like that. Highly recommend these. And they were only like $14, something like that. So it's not a really expensive humidifier. So I have a tons of these. I literally have because we have these in our cabinet. We have them one in my cabinet, one in the Brian has a tank, like a long 20-gallon tank. He has that in there. And then we have these two, and then I have one in the living room with some of the little plants, and then I have one there by in the living room by where I sit. So I think like we have like 7 in the house. Oh, I did wonder that he is an anxious parent. Yeah, so I would say for him to lay off the misting. If he is try to also get a gauge, because sometimes that's also really helps with the anxiety. And so if you get some type of gauge that tells you the temperature. So there are some that like this one, I like this one a lot, the Govee. Oh, the camera's not picking up oh, it's because I left a little sticker on to kind of keep it protected. But this one's really neat because it does your humidity and it does your temperature, but it connects to your phone via app. So I keep it in this room because we keep a lot of our invertebrates in this room. So I need to know. So right now, like it's 79 degrees in here and 41% humidity. And it's going up because we had to turn on the humidifier because it dropped in the evening. But I really like having that type because it connects to my phone. But you can also get really cheap ones that are like $5 or something like that. where they're tiny, and it'll just say the temperature and the humidity. And I really recommend that, because then it at least lets you know, like, oh no, it's super dry here, or oh my gosh, this is really cold for my plant. Usually if you're comfortable, uh, most plants are okay at like 68, 70 degrees. They're totally fine. But if it starts to get chillier or even hotter, so some plants, can't handle like over 85 degrees, they'll start to like crisp up. So that, that's another thing too. If your heat is on, that could definitely damage the plants. Oh, I'm glad he loves gadgets, but I really recommend that Govee one. So it's Govee. And I think it was like $20, 20, maybe $22. I think it was like 21.99, something like that. And it connects to your phone. So if he's anxious and he's he's out buying the groceries and he wants to check on his plant's temperature, he can set it up right next to the plant. And if he wants, to get like one of those little humidifiers, it's a little cactus humidifier for that plant, if he needs to keep that humidity up. But that he should keep in mind that if he is keeping the humidity up, it needs to be in good lighting. And there has to be good air circulation as well. So there has to be some type of like cross ventilation in that area. Or if it's too high of humidity and there isn't any, and the air is stagnant, especially like in the winter when all our windows are closed. Like I go around almost every day. Not when it's like 20s, because that's a little too much, but if it's like higher 30s, what I've been doing is I crack the windows open for a little bit in each room, let some air circulation happen, and then I close the windows again. But I've been leaving the windows open for like an hour or two, and really to get air circulation. We have fans, like I have a really tall fan next to me currently. Yeah. And so it just it circulates, it just and have it like that, because you want to keep the air moving. You want to make sure it's nice and toasty, because if you have high humidity, cool temperature, and stagnant air, that's a recipe for fungus. That is fungus's dream vacation. so so cool temperature, really humid, and especially stagnant air, and also relative like darkness too. So if there's sometimes some fungus, yes, they very much like light. But some, dark, damp, ooh, that's yeah. That makes it for a very happy fungus. Yeah, let him know, and let us know. Let us know. And tell him that, especially if a lot of leaves end up dropping, just tell him not to panic, that usually, they will put out new leaves. So if he can kind of just solve that current issue. So if it's a fungus, there are treatments. There's even like a simple thing, home remedy is using like a little paintbrush with some baking soda. That works really great. Removing any of those damaged leaves. If they're crispy and completely damaged, they're no longer working for the plant. So they're no longer producing food. So they can just be chopped off. So they're just kind of there. they're not actively working with the plant anymore. So you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, and it'll start producing as long as the stems are healthy and not rotting, and the roots are fine, then it'll come back. So just tell him not to worry if it looks a little naked. Not to worry about it. But yeah, I hope honestly, I'm kind of hoping that it's more like a little cold damage, because that's a lot easier. With fungus, you gotta a couple extra steps. But yeah, I hope it'll be okay. Oh man, always after one. Yeah, I have to hop into work in a few. Um, but thank you so much everyone for hopping on, and it was a fun discussion, and I really get really excited when I see folks excited about plants especially, and thank you, and like trying to find you know, solve these little plant mysteries. This is definitely like a highlight for me. I really love these types of things. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for hopping on and hanging out. I hope this was a really good Monday for you, and it ends up being a really good Monday for you because it's just getting started. I feel like I've had such a long Monday because it started so early this morning. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. And yeah, I hope I'll see you next week. Yeah, it is, yeah, too cold. Yeah, definitely. It's so everyone stay warm and stay safe. All right. Bye everyone for now, and I'll see you next week. Bye.